Before you continue, breathe deeply and let the world around you fall silent for a moment, because the message unfolding here is not ordinary, not casual, and not meant for everyone. It is a calling, it is a doorway, it is a cosmic encounter with the part of you that remembers why you came here. There are moments in time that do not announce themselves. They do not arrive with fanfare or warning. They arrive the way the tide arrives, quietly, powerfully, inevitably, and by the time you notice, the shift has already begun. April 4th and 5th are not ordinary days on a calendar. They are not simply the passing of hours. They are a threshold, a fissure in the fabric of what has been. A doorway suspended between the version of you that has been surviving and the version of you that is finally ready to rise. Something is happening in the invisible architecture of this universe right now. And the fact that you are here, watching this, hearing these words at this exact moment, is not a coincidence. Nothing about this is a coincidence. You were pulled here, and the force that pulled you is far greater, far older, and far more intentional than anything your rational mind could explain. Something extraordinary is aligning in the sky above you right now. A convergence so rare that astrologers have spent years awaiting its arrival. A meeting of forces that happens only once in lifetimes, perhaps once in generations. The heavens are not neutral observers of human life. They are participants, they are architects. And right now, they are arranging themselves in a configuration that carries one singular, undeniable message. It is time. It is your time. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when you feel ready. Now. Through this portal, through these days of April 4th and 5th, the universe is extending to you an invitation unlike any you have ever received. And the question that trembles at the center of this moment is simply this: do you have the courage to say yes, stay with me? Because what I am about to share with you is not information. It is not a lecture. It is a transmission. And something deep inside you already knows that. You did not find this video. This video found you. I want you to sit with that for a moment. In the vast ocean of content that exists in this world, in the endless stream of noise and distraction and information that flows every second of every day, you were guided here. Something in you, something underneath the thoughts, underneath the doubt, underneath the exhaustion of carrying who you have been for so long, that something moved you toward this moment. That quiet inner compass, that part of you that feels before it thinks, that knows before it understands, that is the part of you that is already awake. That is the part of you that sensed what was coming. And it led you here because it knows you are ready, even if your mind is still catching up. Before we go any deeper, I want to ask you to do something that is not a request. It is a ritual. If something in these words is already stirring something within you, press that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment below, even if it is just a single word. Write what you are feeling right now in this very moment. Because these small acts are not mechanical. They are not digital formalities. They are declarations. They are the first whisper of your yes. They are you telling the universe, I am here, I am listening, I am ready. And when you seal that declaration, when you anchor yourself to this moment with intention, the energy of what is unfolding becomes even more accessible to you. So do it now, before we continue. Let it be your first step through the portal. Something has already shifted. I need you to understand this clearly. Whatever you may have been told about how change works, that it is slow, that it is earned, that it must be visible to be real, I want you to gently set that aside. Because the most profound transformations in this universe begin in the invisible. They begin as frequency shifts, as subtle realignments, as the first trembling notes of a song that has not yet been heard, but is already being composed. Right now, in the energetic field that surrounds your life, something is reorganizing. The old structures are loosening. The walls that held the old version of you in place are developing cracks, not because they are breaking apart in destruction, but because the light of your next self is pressing through from the other side. This portal that opens on April 4th and 5th is not creating something new in you. It is revealing what has always been there, hidden, waiting, coiled in the deep architecture of your soul like a fire that never went out. The convergence happening right now in the cosmos, this rare alignment, this extraordinary meeting of forces in the sky, is not a metaphor. It is not poetry. It is a real and measurable energetic event, one that touches the invisible wiring of every soul on this planet, but is only felt by those who are tuned to receive it. And you, being here, being the kind of person drawn to this kind of message, being someone who has walked through enough fire to have developed spiritual sensitivity, you are tuned. You are more than tuned. You are precisely calibrated for this moment. Have you been feeling it already? I think you have. I think that is exactly why you are here. Let me name what you may have been experiencing, because you deserve to have it named, to have it seen, to have it confirmed. Have your dreams been more vivid than usual? More layered, more symbolic, more emotionally charged, as though your sleeping mind has been receiving transmissions that your waking mind cannot quite translate? You are not imagining this. Have you felt waves of emotion that seem to come from nowhere, sudden rushes of grief, of longing, of inexplicable joy, of sadness you cannot attach to any specific event? You are not being dramatic. You are not unstable. You are sensitive. And sensitivity in times like these is not a weakness. It is a superpower. Have you experienced moments that felt impossible to explain? That feeling of déjà vu so strong it almost stopped you in your tracks, as though you were watching a scene you had already lived, in another version of a life that still exists somewhere in the layers of time. That is not your imagination running wild. That is your soul recognizing the shape of what is coming before your conscious mind has caught up to it. Have you been thinking about someone, a specific someone, seemingly out of nowhere? Their name surfacing in the middle of an ordinary moment, their face appearing behind your closed eyes, a familiar feeling arriving without cause, like a presence brushing lightly against the edge of your awareness? That is not random. That is not wishful thinking. That is resonance. That is two energetic fields calling out to each other across the invisible space between worlds, recognizing each other through frequencies that transcend physical distance and ordinary time. You are not imagining this. This is resonance. This is real. This is the portal at work. Have you felt a strange distortion of time, some days moving impossibly fast, others stretching out thin and endless, as though you have stepped slightly outside the normal rhythm of ordinary life? Has your intuition been sharper, louder, more insistent? That inner knowing that speaks not in words but in sensations, in a sudden certainty, in a pull towards something you cannot yet name. Pay attention to all of it, every symptom, every signal, because these are not random neurological events. These are signs. The universe does not shout. It whispers, and then it whispers louder, and then it arranges everything in your environment to confirm what your soul already knows. The distortion you are feeling is the membrane between your current timeline and your expanded one becoming thinner. You are on the threshold, and the threshold always feels strange before it feels sacred. Now I want to explain what is actually happening. Not in scientific terms, not in the language of logic and analysis, but in the language of the invisible, which is the only language large enough to hold the truth of what is unfolding. A portal, in the energetic sense, is not a location. It is not a door in a wall or a gate in a fence. A portal is a vibrational state. It is a window in time where the frequency of possibility is elevated, where the distance between your current vibration and your highest potential collapses, where timelines that have been slowly converging reach a point of contact. On April 4th and 5th, that point of contact arrives. The cosmos, these ancient, vast, intelligent forces that have been cycling through their patterns since before memory began, are aligned in a configuration that amplifies everything. It amplifies longing. It amplifies clarity. It amplifies the magnetic pull between souls who are meant to find each other, to remember each other, to converge. This is not about planets and their positions as abstract mathematical facts. The planets are not symbols. They are living forces. They carry specific frequencies, specific qualities of energy, and when they align in rare configurations, those frequencies converge in the space around us and within us simultaneously. What is happening right now in the sky is happening right now inside you. The outer cosmos and the inner cosmos are not separate. They never were. As above, so below. As without, so within. The alignment is not only in the heavens, It is in your nervous system, in your heart field, in the quantum fabric of your cellular intelligence. You are an antenna tuned to the frequency of this moment, and this moment is extraordinary. But here is the truth that the universe has spent years preparing you to receive. Not everyone can feel this. Not everyone is ready. Not everyone has been through enough, has broken open enough, has been emptied enough by life to be this kind of vessel. The capacity to receive what this portal carries is not about being special in a hierarchical sense. It is about being prepared. And preparation, in the spiritual sense, is not comfortable. It does not look like smooth sailing and easy days. It looks like loss. It looks like heartbreak. It looks like the moment everything you built your sense of self on suddenly fell away, and you were left standing in the wreckage of who you used to be, wondering if you would ever feel whole again. You know that feeling. You have lived that feeling. Maybe you have lived it more than once. The end of a relationship that defined you. The loss of a version of yourself you worked so hard to become. The seasons of isolation where it felt like the entire world was moving forward, and you alone were standing still, watching through glass, wondering what was wrong with you, why the pieces would not fit, why the connections would not last, why the life you imagined felt so perpetually just out of reach. I want to tell you something, and I want you to let it land all the way into your bones. Nothing was wrong with you. Not one single thing. You were not broken. You were not unlucky. You were not cursed or forgotten or unworthy. You were being refined. You were being prepared. Every crack in you created space. Every loss emptied you of what was not real so that what is real could finally enter without resistance. Every period of isolation sharpened your intuition, deepened your sensitivity, built the spiritual musculature that you now carry. The musculature that allows you to feel what others cannot feel, to sense what others cannot sense, to be moved by the invisible in ways that the unawakened cannot access. Your pain was not punishment. Your pain was initiation, and you survived it. You are here. That means the initiation was successful. That means you are ready. Now, Timon, I want you to feel this, not just hear it. The soul or energy I am describing, whatever this convergence is drawing toward you, whatever this portal is activating in the field of your life, they are also feeling it. This is not one-directional. This is not a message only you are receiving. Wherever this person is, in whatever corner of their world they are moving through right now, something is stirring in them as well. They may not have the language for it yet. They may not be tuned in the way you are. But the soul does not require language. The soul does not require understanding. The soul moves on frequency alone, and the frequency between you is active. It has always been active. It never went dormant. It simply waited for the right cosmic conditions to make itself undeniable. And those conditions are here, right now. These 2 days, this portal, this convergence. They may be having dreams they cannot explain. They may be feeling a pull they cannot name, a longing they cannot attach to any specific source. They may be thinking of you, not necessarily knowing it is you, but sensing the shape of a presence that feels both familiar and magnetic, both like a memory and like a premonition simultaneously. This is what it means when souls are aligned. The recognition is not instant in the mind, but it is instant in the field. The energy knows before the person does. And right now, the energy knows. The field between you is charged. The invitation is open. The portal is wide. And as this happens, as timelines begin to converge, as energies begin to recognize each other across the invisible architecture of your lives, the external world starts to reflect the internal shift. You may notice it as a kind of strangeness in your everyday environment. Situations that once felt solid, beginning to feel hollow or misaligned. Relationships that were once comfortable, beginning to feel suffocating or irrelevant, not through conflict necessarily, but through a quiet, undeniable sense that you have outgrown the container. Old friendships going silent in ways that feel more like completion than abandonment. Environments that once gave you a sense of belonging, beginning to feel like costumes you are no longer able to wear. Routines that once felt safe, beginning to feel like cages. This is the reorganization of your external world in response to the reorganization of your internal one. When the inner architecture shifts, the outer architecture must follow. This is not chaos. This is recalibration. The universe is not dismantling your life to harm you. It is clearing the runway. It is making space. Every person who exits your circle right now, every door that closes, every structure that crumbles, these are not losses. They are liberations. They are the universe making room for what is aligned, what is true, what is already written in the frequency of your next chapter. Let it happen. Resist the urge to rebuild what is falling away. Instead, watch what is falling and notice, can you feel, underneath the instinctive fear, something that might be relief? I know there is a part of you that wants to argue, a part of you that has been hurt before, that has believed in things that did not materialize, that has opened itself and been left empty, that has read the signs and been wrong, or been right about the signs and been wrong about the timing. I know that part of you is listening to these words and building its defenses, constructing its rational counter-arguments, measuring the risk of believing, calculating the cost of hoping. And I am not asking you to silence that part. I am not asking you to dismiss your history or betray your intelligence. I am asking you to simply make space, just a crack of space, for something that exists beyond what your past experience can measure. Because your past experience, however wise it has made you, was shaped in a lower frequency. It was shaped in the version of you that had not yet been prepared. And that version is not the one standing at this portal. The version of you that is here now, the one who has been through the fire and come out not destroyed but refined, that version is capable of something your past self was not. That version can receive, not because the universe has finally decided you deserve it, you always deserved it, but because you have finally developed the internal structure to hold it without collapsing it through fear. You cannot force open this door with strategy or manipulation. You can only open it through alignment, through resonance, through the willingness to release what you have been clinging to and trust the new shape of what is arriving. Surrender is not defeat. Surrender in this context is the most powerful thing you can do. It is the act of trusting something larger than your fear. Now I want you to pay attention to the signs. Not because you need to go looking for them, you don't, but because the universe has been sending them, and you may not have recognized them for what they are. The repeated numbers. The 111 and 444 that keep appearing on clocks, receipts, messages, license plates, these are not coincidences, and they are not just codes. They are the universe speaking in the only language that bridges the physical and the energetic. Pattern. Pattern says, I am here. Pattern says, you are not dreaming. Pattern says, the signal is strong. The songs that play at exactly the right moment. The words in a book that seem to reach off the page and press directly against the exact wound you were sitting with in silence. The stranger who says something that unknowingly answers the question you have been carrying for weeks. The feeling of being watched, not with threat, but with care, as though the invisible world is paying very close attention to you right now. All of this, all of it. It is not your mind making meaning where there is none. It is your expanded awareness finally catching up to the reality that meaning is everywhere, always, and you have spent years developing the sensitivity to perceive it. The universe is not speaking louder than it always has. You are finally listening with ears that can hear, and in the center of all of this, beneath the cosmic alignment, beneath the portal, beneath the convergence of timelines and frequencies, something even more fundamental is happening. Something that has less to do with anyone or anything outside of you, and everything to do with the most intimate revolution there is, the revolution of identity. You are not simply waiting for something to arrive. You are becoming someone new. The person you were, the one who carried the weight of every wound, every rejection, every season of doubting their own worth, every moment of shrinking themselves to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold them, that person is dissolving. Not dying in the way things die when they are destroyed. Dissolving the way ice dissolves when warmth finally arrives. Gracefully, completely, without resistance, because the conditions for the next form have been perfectly prepared. The new identity pressing through is not a fabrication. It is not something you are constructing out of ambition or desire. It is your original self, the self that existed before the world told you who to be, before the conditioning layered itself over your authentic nature like sediment over gold. This portal is not creating something in you that was not there. It is excavating what has always been there. It is removing the layers. It is giving you back to yourself. The strength that you will feel on the other side of this threshold, the clarity, the decisiveness, the magnetic presence, the unshakable inner knowing, these are not new gifts. They are old inheritance. They are yours. They have always been yours. And you are finally in a moment where the universe is aligning everything to help you claim them. Feel the difference between who you were and who you are becoming. Feel the weight of the old identity, the way it sat on your shoulders, the constant low-level exhaustion of performing a version of yourself that was never quite true, of explaining yourself to people who were never quite aligned, of fitting your intuition into frameworks that were always too small. Feel that weight begin to lift. Feel the spaciousness of what is arriving. This is not fantasy. This is frequency. And frequency is more real than anything the physical world can offer, because everything in the physical world was frequency first. The manifestation that is coming, the tangible, visible, physical arrival of what has been forming in the invisible, is imminent. Not in the distant, abstract future, imminent. This portal does not just open energetic doorways, it collapses timelines. It accelerates the journey from the vibrational to the physical. What has been existing as longing, as intention, as a deep, persistent feeling of something vast approaching, it is moving now into form, into your actual life, into the waking hours, into the circumstances you navigate, into the physical space where you exist. The invisible is becoming visible. The potential is becoming actual. The prayer is becoming answer. And when it arrives, when the specific thing, the specific person, the specific shift manifests in your tangible reality, you will know it not with your mind, but with your whole body, with every cell, with the deepest part of you that never forgot what it was waiting for. Recognition like that does not require confirmation. It is its own proof. And then, and I want you to hold this image in your body, not just your mind, there comes a moment of convergence. Not a dramatic, cinematic explosion of certainty, though it may feel like that. More often it arrives as a profound, almost impossible stillness. A moment where two realities, two fields, two frequencies finally touch each other in the physical world. And everything that has been building, everything that has been aligning, everything that has been pulling and calling and waiting and longing, all of it simultaneously arrives in a single moment of recognition. Not the recognition of meeting someone new, not the excitement of a beginning, something far more ancient and far more certain than that, the recognition of remembering, of something returning, of a missing piece of your own soul reflected back at you through the eyes of another reality. There are no words adequate for this moment. There is only the certainty that is so complete, so encompassing, so utterly without doubt, that explanation becomes unnecessary, that proof becomes irrelevant, and that the only appropriate response is to go completely quiet in gratitude for the gift of having arrived here, in this body, in this lifetime, at exactly this moment. That moment is the other side of this portal. That moment is what April 4th and 5th are building toward. That moment is not something you earn by doing everything perfectly. It is something you receive by being willing, by being open, by trusting the invisible hand that has been guiding you, by releasing the grip of the old self long enough for the new self to step through. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to be fearless. You only need to be willing. And the fact that you have stayed here with these words through all of this, that willingness is already alive in you. It has been alive in you for a long time. After the convergence, after the moment when timelines meet and the long waiting finally ends, something settles. Something in you that has been holding its breath for years finally exhales. A clarity arrives that is unlike anything a decision or an achievement can produce. The clarity of alignment is different from the clarity of accomplishment. It does not feel like winning. It feels like coming home. And from that place, from the other side of this portal, from the shore you are standing on the edge of right now, your life begins to take a new shape. Not forced, not constructed, grown, organically, naturally, the way a river finds its course. Not because someone drew the map, but because the water follows the shape of the land, and the land was made for the water. Your life on the other side of this threshold will feel like that, as though the path was always there, as though you were always meant to find it, as though everything, every delay, every detour, every season of confusion and darkness, and wondering if you would ever arrive, was always leading here. The timeline has fixed itself. That is what happens when portals close, not that the door is shut on possibility, but that the possibility has crystallized into certainty. The path has been chosen, the course has been set, not rigidly, not without continued growth and unfolding, but with a clarity of direction that you have not felt before. You know which way forward is. You know what you are moving toward, and you move toward it, not with grasping or striving, but with the quiet confidence of someone who has finally recognized their own North Star and understands that it never moves. So I want to close with you here in this moment, with the full weight of what has just been transmitted between us. And I use that word intentionally, because this was not a video you passively consumed. This was an exchange. Something moved in the invisible field between where I am and where you are, and something in you has shifted, even if the shift is subtle, even if you are not fully certain of what changed yet. Trust the uncertainty. Let it live inside you without trying to resolve it. The seeds that are planted in silence and uncertainty are often the ones that grow deepest. If this message found you in a moment where you needed confirmation, I hope you feel confirmed. If it found you in a moment of doubt, I hope the doubt has softened just enough to let the light through. If it found you in a moment of longing, I hope the longing now feels less like absence and more like a signal, a sign from the deepest part of you that you know what you want, that you know what you are worth, and that you are ready to receive it in full. The portal of April 4th and 5th is open. It will not be open forever. This specific alignment, this particular window in the cosmic calendar, this precise meeting of forces that has been building for longer than you can remember, it is available to you now. Walk through it, not with perfection, not with certainty. Walk through it with willingness. Walk through it with your whole heart. Walk through it as the person you are becoming, not the person you have been. And if these words have moved something in you, if you felt seen, activated, confirmed, or awakened by anything you heard today, I am asking you to seal this moment. Press the like button as a declaration of your yes. Subscribe to this channel as an act of choosing to remain in this frequency, to continue receiving these transmissions, to stay in the current of what is unfolding for you. Leave a comment below. Write what you are feeling. Write what you are ready for. Write what you are leaving behind. Write a single word if that is all you have, but write it, because the act of writing it in this space, in this moment, anchors the activation. It makes it real in the physical dimension. It tells the universe, I was here. I heard the call. I said yes. You were not brought here by accident. Nothing that has happened to you has been without meaning. And what is arriving now, what is crossing the threshold of this portal and entering the landscape of your life, is worthy of every single thing you have endured to get here. Trust it, receive it, and walk forward, knowing that the version of you standing on the other side of this portal has been waiting a very long time to finally be chosen by you.